What's really interesting about the move for Jalen Ramsey is obviously they feel the need to massively shake up this secondary. Aqib Talib went on injured reserve as a cornerback. They trade away Marcus Peters, who, by the way, since he came in the league, has 8 more interceptions than any other player in football, but he's on his 3rd team in 5 years.
Well, yeah.
So there's some issues there.
Well, yeah, you look at the numbers, of the interceptions, but you also look at the yards per attempt, where they're completing on him, completion percentage on him is not very good.
Yeah, it depends on what you want. And in this situation, it became abundantly clear as the day went on that the Los Angeles Rams were a lot more comfortable paying Jalen Ramsey what's going to be the highest defensive back contract in the history of the NFL versus paying Marcus Peters anything close to that.
But what we're seeing here is this. First of all, there's no doubt that Jalen Ramsey is a transcendent player, right?
Yes.
We all agree. He's that good. He's ridiculously good. Were you surprised they got 2 firsts and a 4th for him?
No. I mean, you're talking about a player right at the top of his position. Weren't we talking about that with Khalil Mack? Khalil Mack, a player at the top of his position. I think the Raiders got 2 first-rounders for him. So, no, it doesn't shock me that the going rate for the top 1, top 2 at your position this is one of the positions too, right? Quarterback, you have tackle, you have pass rusher, you have cornerback as well. So this is one of the big positions, as they say, where I heard Jack Del Rio talking about it yesterday of how you can play him. He can man up. He can take away half the field. You can have your safeties, look elsewhere if he's taking care of one side. So there's a lot of things you can do with him to put him in that situation. A lot of times we just look at stats of interceptions, but if you have a low completion percentage that side and you do with Jalen Ramsey, you have passes defense, you look at Deion Sanders, you'd have guys that wouldn't even look his way. So that doesn't show up in the box score, right?
Yeah.
When a guy doesn't even look to throw that way.
Takes away half the field.
So there are other ways to look at what a guy does instead of just saying, how many interceptions does he have?
Exactly. And you'll pair him with another former Jags first rounder in Dante Fowler, who, as we know, pass rushers and defensive back play kind of inextricably linked.
And another first-rounder from the Jags, Blake Bortles.
It's unbelievable. 2014, 2015, 2016.
So with all of this in the Rams moves, it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. And the question then becomes, yes, they clearly upgraded their secondary by picking up Jalen Ramsey, but are they doing it at the expense of first-round picks that they seem to give away like candy? They took Jared Goff with the first pick in 2016. They will not have a next first-round pick until 2022. They have traded away 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. That is remarkable.
Yeah, so it becomes a question of, is this too much?
Yeah.
Like, did they give up too much in this for a guy that, yes, I know, I think courtesy of Football Outsiders, the Rams are in the bottom half of the league when it comes to pass defense, so an area they could have certainly used to upgrade, but the common chorus and response seemed to be, all right, this move, I guess, works if you think you're going to win the Super Bowl this year, but I think most of us look at them on offense and say, this thing is at its foundation, that being the offensive line, still so flawed as Noteboom goes down now.
Who was not playing great to begin with.
Exactly. And so they trade for Austin Corbett yesterday from the Browns, who was a failed second-round pick for them. So it's not like you really netted yourself much in the way of help there for an offense that seems, again, and was the strength of the team for so long, pretty broken right now.
You choose how you build, right? You look at that old line when they went to the Super Bowl that was filled with a few free agents, right? You have Aaron Donald, who you drafted, but you made him one of the high picks. You bring in Sue. You trade for Fowler, Peters, Aqib Talib, who went on IR as well, right? So you choose the way you build your team.
They traded a second rounder for Peters.
You have core guys that you drafted, from Donald to Goff to Gurley, and you're slowly making them. You have Gurley, the highest paid, running back, or was right there. Donald, where he's being paid. As you mentioned, Jalen Ramsey will be the highest paid. So you're choosing how you build, and you're choosing who you pay. And they were, by the way, in the Super Bowl last year, right? And against a team who does it differently. They have basically one guy in New England, Stephon Gilmore, who they paid a good contract to. Other than that, they don't pay a lot of people. That's not how they go about their business. And the Rams, this is the way they choose to go about their business. You get that stellar player at a position, but unfortunately, the position they need the most help at is the offensive line. And they haven't really addressed that. They have had injuries. They do the trade. But let me tell you, the moves they did there, not going to make a big difference on that O-line at all.
The Rams in 2020 will have the number 1 cap hit at quarterback, the number 1 cap hit at running back, the number 1 cap hit at D-line, and the number 6 cap hit at wide receiver. And they're about to have the number 1 cap hit at defensive back.
So you choose your window of opportunity of how long it's going to be open, and this is something that's done. You're not just making moves now, thinking of now. You have to have that in mind. And that doesn't sit well, right? When you're going to have those big time cap hits. So
it means you're not set up. Let's put it this way: you're not set up to grow much in the long term unless you continue to do it by this, and you've slowly lost the capital by which to do that, unless you're going to trade or offload other players in this.
Well, let's go through that list again of who in 2020. Did you say
in 2020?
2020, the number 1 cap hits. What are they again?
Quarterback, running back, D-line.
He's going to be there. Quarterback's going to be there.
Quarterback's going to be there.
Whether that's a good thing or not at this point,
he's going to be
there.
Running back, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
We know Donald will be.
Donald will be.
And eventually Jalen.
I say Brandon Cooks, what they're going to do with him.
I'm not sure he's going to be there either. So I think 2 of those, right now as it stands, 2 of those players may not be on.
We also know there'll be another biggest cap hit, and that'll be Jalen Ramsey,
Correct.
and he'll be there as well.
I guess it's the idea that we know first-round picks, whatever you want the hit rate there to be, and having more draft picks as a strategy and all these things, it gives you something to work with, and they're not going to have that for the next 5 years, regardless of how that shakes out. And it's right. It's much more of a short-term move and a short-term window. The problem is you plugged one hole in the dam and let the bigger one keep going. Yeah. And so you wonder how much closer, because this definitely makes, you don't add Jalen Ramsey and not get better.
Correct.
Like, you absolutely get better. The combination of him and Wade Phillips is going to work well. But it's, can this team win a Super Bowl? They've got an easy schedule from here on out that can probably get them to where they want to go, meaning in the playoffs. And
I'm sure they're just a team that thinks we were in the Super Bowl last year. We just need to tweak occasionally here and there and get back. But unfortunately, they're finding out that's a little more difficult. And we always say about trades, is a guy worth the first-round pick? Well, Khalil Mack, Jalen Ramsey, you're talking about anybody that you think you want your first-rounder to become. Yeah. But now we're talking about 2 first-round picks. It is a steep price without a doubt.
Here's a recent list. And by the way, this isn't draft capital to get to draft a player. These are trading 2 first-round picks for a veteran player. Jalen Ramsey joins this list. Khalil Mack last year. Jay Cutler from the Denver Broncos by the Bears. Ricky Williams from the New Orleans Saints. Keyshawn Johnson from the Jets. Jeff George from the Indianapolis Colts to Minnesota, and Herschel Walker and 7,000 picks.
So right now, the only one that we could say has worked is Khalil Mack to this point, right?
Yeah. Well, in terms of paying
off. In terms of saying,
well,
was
Keyshawn went on
to
win a Super Bowl with the Bucs. I mean, he did go on to win a Super Bowl with the Bucs.
Right. You're right.
So, but it's a very rare thing when you see 2 first-round picks being traded. Now we've had it happen in back-to-back seasons.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.